Some good news for the 49ers. Brock Purdy is back out on that practice field for the second straight day. It looks like there's plenty of zip on his passes. I will tell you, though, that Mac Jones is likely to start on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. That's just based on the division of labor that I see at practice. It seems to be similar to what we saw before week 3 against the Arizona Cardinals when Mac Jones did indeed start. Now, there's a chance that Brock Purdy is either QB2 or emergency QB3 for the 49ers. In fact, I'd say that the possibility of that is growing throughout the week as Purdy does reapproach 100%. The 49ers strategy here is simple. We got to get Brock Purdy back up to 100% or as close to it as possible to have an elite offense. That is the pathway to contention for the 49ers this year. Again, I mentioned it on the live earlier. There are no elite teams in the upper right this season. It's all about teams just straddling either the X or the Y axis. The Y axis about good defense, the X axis about good offense. There's nobody in that firm upper right where the 49ers found themselves in 2022 and 2023. So in this NFL of parity, there is opportunity, even though the 49ers are beaten up defensively. They just got to move their dot to the right. And to do that, they need an offense with as high of a ceiling as possible. That's only going to happen if Brock Purdy returns fully healthy and stays that way, which is why they're playing the long game in this instance. Now, good news regarding Mac Jones is that he's feeling good. You can see here, Mac Jones even playing some receiver for the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey is the one playing quarterback. McCaffrey to Jones to Adrian Martinez. Nice little trick play for San Francisco. Another piece of news is that Dominic Purdy was back out at practice today. The right guard was out of Wednesday's session with a knee issue, probably related to the knee issue that traces all the way back to week 2 of the preseason, and obviously one that has slowed Dominic Purdy's play this season. So he was able to take the day off on Wednesday. We'll see if that helps him in his performance in the game on Sunday. I assume that Dominic Purdy is on track to start for the 49ers since he was at practice on Thursday. No Ricky Pearsall. We didn't expect him this week based on how it all started on Wednesday. I would expect Ricky Pearsall. I did have a chance to chat with him briefly. He said he's feeling a lot better. I would expect him to be back the following week against the Houston Texans, a team that plays really good defense, not so good on offense. So it might be good for the 49ers to return some weapons for that game against D'Amico Ryans in Houston. No Yetur Gross-Matos, not surprising, dealing with the hamstring. And somebody posted yesterday that 49ers pass rush was one of the best in the league week 1 when this all started. I mean, RIP to that pass rush, but they had Bosa on one edge, they had Bryce Huff on the other. We're just talking about lightning package, NASCAR package stuff. Yetur Gross-Matos in the middle, and Michael Williams also rushing against the inside. I mean, those guys, that group, that foursome, closed out 2 games in 2 weeks, right? Nick Bosa, week 1 against the Seattle Seahawks. Bryce Huff, week 2 against the New Orleans Saints. I mean, to deliver in crunch time, that is the measure of a really, really good offensive line. And the 49ers had 2 closes in 2 weeks. They were Mariano Rivera twice in a row. And now Yetur Gross-Matos is out with his hamstring. Nick Bosa's obviously done for the 49ers. They've still got Michael up there, and they still have Bryce Huff. And those are 2 players who I think have done some really good things for the 49ers this year, but it is a far cry. We hardly knew ye. A far cry from the initial 49ers 4-man pass rush of this season, which is why we're going to be watching the Bengals game tonight, not to see Trey Hendrickson, who won't play due to his injury. He was day-to-day this week, though, so I think that he should be available soon. But to see if the Bengals lose. They're 5.5-point underdogs to the Pittsburgh Steelers, division rival. If the Bengals lose, that'll be 5 straight defeats for them. And even though they've been talking a big game about wanting to contend, it's going to be really hard to justify at 2-5. And then maybe they lose to the 0-6 or maybe even 0-7 Jets by the time the next week rolls around. Probably not, but it's not looking good for the Bengals. They're one of the worst teams in football. If you go back to the XY chart that I put up a little bit earlier, they're in the same spot as the Titans. It is absolutely brutal for Cincinnati. So watch closely tonight because Trey Hendrickson, Miles Murphy, a couple edge rushers the 49ers would be interested in on that Bengals team to try to spruce up this pass rush, which has lost so much.
Well, you guys know me. I train regularly. I have to, so I could do all my swims in the San Francisco Bay to Alcatraz and back. And I've got to fuel myself properly in order to accomplish all of this. Well, it's important to ingest the right protein. That's why I'm so excited to team up with Transparent Labs, because their grass-fed whey protein isolate has made it really easy for me to hit my protein goals in a clean and healthy way. Trust me, this stuff works. After Transparent Labs sent me some to try for the course of a few weeks, I was really feeling a difference in my strength and the fuel necessary to not only attack the weight room, but also attack the water. And you know what? The best part about this is the variety, because personally, I get sick of having the same thing day after day. This protein comes in 14 delicious natural flavors. I can easily switch it up when I feel like having something new. And you can be confident that what's on the label is exactly the same as what's in your shaker, because Transparent Labs protein is third-party tested and informed choice certified. If you'd like to try the Transparent Labs grass-fed protein yourself, well, you're in luck. Just hop down into the description, click on the link, or scan the QR code right on the screen. Transparent Labs is giving away a free protein starter pack right now. 5 different flavor samples in that pack. Trust me, check it out. You will be very, very happy with the quality of this product, and you'll be happy with the diversity of flavors. QR code on the screen, link in the description. Make sure you check it out.
We didn't see Marquez Valdes-Scantling at today's 49ers practice. Supposedly a calf issue for Marquez Valdes-Scantling, according to Matt Barrows. Jordan Watkins, though, the rookie, back out there, and it increasingly seems that he might make his NFL debut for the 49ers on Sunday against the Falcons in prime time. Now, Sky Moore, with the ankle injury, was back out at practice today, so we'll see where the 49ers are with him as the punt returner. I know they're not happy about him fielding the punts inside the 5-yard line, but when he missed Wednesday's practice, it looked like Watkins might have a little window on special teams. And maybe he still will if he does return for the 49ers. But, you know, rookie punt returner in prime time, career debut, maybe that's not something that the 49ers are willing to do. We'll see. The Eddie Pinheiro article that I wrote, I think you have to read this just to understand the way that the math has changed for the 49ers. They're plus 7 expected points, 6.8 to be exact, in special teams against Tampa Bay. And it's such a cool story because Eddie's dad, Eddie Sr., had a heart attack a couple months ago, was finally able to watch him play because Eddie bought his parents a house in Miami a few years ago, so they were able to drive to the game because Eddie Sr. has yet to be cleared following the heart attack to fly. So Eddie felt a lot of pressure to deliver in front of his parents, and deliver he did. But when you normally, you know, a story like this, you talk about kickers and it's just the fun side story, right? But this actually has real impact on the 49ers playoff chances. Like, Eddie has come in, made 15 of 15 field goals, and totally changed the equation for San Francisco when we look at the expected points per game. I mean, plus 6.8 in a game against, that kept the game against Tampa close because, I mean, they got their asses kicked on offense and defense. In other games, the 49ers special teams, like the one against Arizona, is actually what pulled it out for San Francisco. So as long as you can get any given row on the EPA chart to add up to sum over 0 to be in the positive, you're probably going to win that game. And special teams shows us if they can get plus a couple points at least, or in the case of Sunday, plus 7 points on special teams, what the 49ers have to do is just not be horrific defensively, which I don't think is that tall of an ask. I mean, they have lost Bosa and Warner, but just find a way to patch it together. They still have Robert Saleh leading the show. They've got some rookies that they really like. Just stabilize there and then let the offense, this is back to the top of the show, let the offense do its job, be as elite as possible. Top 5 offense combined with a number 20 defense, something that's just bad but not horrific, something a little bit below average, combined with Eddie Pinheiro and a really solid special teams. In a league of parity, that's something that could actually keep the 49ers in contention up until the very end. And that's all you can really ask for. And then, of course, I mean, earlier today we talked about the potential Fred Warner return. That's just something to just casually mention at this point. I will say that Jerry Rice in 1997 tore his ACL week 1, was back by week 16. He did re-injure his ACL against Mike Shanahan's Denver Broncos. If Kyle might have been at that game, or maybe Kyle was already in college at that point. I think Kyle was in high school at that point. It was a candlestick, though. Jerry Rice got a touchdown, and that's where he re-injured his knee. But if Fred Warner can come back for the Super Bowl, he might be willing to take on some risk of re-injury for the legacy. We can talk about that further down the road. The 49ers still need to talk to the doctors following Fred Warner's surgery at Stanford. That's going to happen a little bit later this week. On to the Falcons, who, I mean, the same team that lost 30-0 to Carolina went out and beat Buffalo by 10, and I don't think the game was even that close. I think it wasn't competitive at all. They rushed for 6.8 per carry against the Buffalo Bills. You've got Bijan Robinson at the running back position, Drake London at receiver, big catch radius for Drake London, sticky hands. Renardo Green back at practice. I know you've been limited with the neck issue, and the 49ers worked out 3 corners the other day. Turns out that they didn't sign any of them, which means they probably have confidence that their outside corners are going to be healthy, but they're going to have a big challenge against this excellent Atlanta receiver in Drake London. Now, last week, the 49ers didn't do a bad job against Emeka Egbuka. He only had 2 catches for 24 yards before he exited with an injury, but they had issues everywhere else. And that was the thing. Tampa, even with a skeleton receiving crew, no Egbuka, no Evans, no Godwin, they picked on the 49ers with the tight end position and receivers further down the depth chart like Tez Johnson and Cameron Johnson. Those are the 2 guys that scored the long touchdowns. The 49ers couldn't bring down Baker Mayfield, so he was able to pick up the most key first down of the game himself. Bottom line is the 49ers, even if they shut down Drake London, have to be much better unit-wide without Fred Warner in their check-down pass defense, in their zone pass defense, and to start all that out with their pass rush. Because Michael Penix Jr. doesn't move very well. That's really the one weakness I see here. Jake Matthews, the left tackle for the Falcons, is now hurt. So opportunity should abound for the 49ers defense to look much better this week than last week. That might surprise you based on how good Atlanta looked against the Buffalo Bills, but there's a reason why the 49ers are actually favored by 2 in this game. There's also a shorter week and a long cross-country flight that Atlanta's going to have to bounce back from. Ultimately, the 49ers right now, especially as they're trying to find ways to stabilize the defense, because a trade is not going to happen in time to add somebody before Sunday's game, it's about offense and special teams, especially special teams, because Purdy probably won't be back, but it's about those 2 phases of the game being the locomotives that pull the train. Hog the ball. It's going to be a lot easier with George Kittle back, and Kittle looked good at practice again today, because George, the 49ers run game hasn't been what it should be. I mean, it's ranked damn near the bottom of the league. We'll see what Kittle can do to open things up. I talk about him as a big leverage piece. I know the 49ers have to be better on the interior line. We've talked about that all week. Let's focus on what the Kittle variable can do positively for the 49ers this week. Let's see if it can help them hog the ball against the Atlanta Falcons. No Pearsall yet, but Kendrick Bourne has been playing really well. Jawan Jennings, he's a week further removed from the fractured ribs. They're still fractured, I'm sure, but maybe he gets a little bit more involved. He seemed to be in a better mood standing out on that practice field today. He's actually had a chance to practice this week, which is huge, because in prior weeks, Jawan had just gotten in there on Fridays, and that's a slow practice. It's more of a walkthrough. So maybe he's going to be more involved in the 49ers game plan. And then they set the table for Ricky Pearsall to come back the week after that. So slowly but surely, 49ers offense is healing. Maybe they see Brock Purdy on the cherry on top of everything, the guy to drive it all once they head to Houston to face DeMeco Ryans. All right, that's the report here from the facility. We will talk to you soon.